It's time for another edition of Cowboys Special Edition, brought to you by AT&T. Bill Jones, along with Bucky, Brooks, Isaiah, Stanback, and Nate Newton, as the Cowboys get set to play a Sunday night game this week on the road at the Philadelphia Eagles. And even though the Cowboys have lost the last couple of games in lackluster fashion, here they are, a half game behind the Philadelphia Eagles after making a lot of moves this past week. And, of course, having to start a rookie quarterback as well. But let's go around the horn to kick things off. And where does this team sit right now? Let's start with you, Bucky.
Well, I think obviously the moves and things that took place this week were a wake-up call for this team. And I think in the locker room, it was about cleaning up the locker room, making sure you get everyone on board. And before the Cowboys can go about the process of getting back to their winning ways, they have to make sure that they get everyone on the same page. And I think sometimes when you have a team full of veterans, particularly a bunch of veterans that come from outside places, many of their messages might be mixed. And so you remove those guys, you get the young guys back on board, and maybe we'll see better play from this team going forward.
Absolutely, Buck. This team, obviously, this week has been put on alert. Jerry has put his foot down and let everybody know that everybody can get it. He's the can man this week. So these guys have to come together and figure out exactly what they want to do, what they want to be as a team. What is identity? What's the character of this unit? And they have to put some wins together, obviously, because they still everything that they want from themselves this year, as far as the playoffs, as far as the championship, is still at their fingertips.
I tell you what, fellas, I'm just excited that it's a new era. This ship was sinking fast, and now we're righted this ship with young guys. Ben Dinucci era has started. Thank you.
All right, let's get into the moves of the past week, specifically what the Cowboys did. Of course, back on Tuesday, they traded Everson Griffin to the Detroit Lions, a conditional sixth-round pick that could become a fifth-rounder next year. And then the next day, they released Terry Poe and Daryl Worley. So in the span of 24 hours, 3 veteran players are out the door. And were any of those moves surprise you? Let's start with you, Bucky.
No, I'm not surprised at all. I think you heard the complaints of Everson Griffin, whether it's playing in a three-point stance or playing upright, wanting to get back to how he played when he was at Minnesota. So that appeared to be a problem. And then with Terry Poe and Daryl Worley, I think it's hard to convince your team that you're doing things in their best interest when they can clearly look at tape and see some of those players not performing but continue to get minutes. I think the removal of these guys had to happen for your young guys to understand what it takes to win.
Totally agree. These guys needed to make a move, and they needed to make a move fast. Some would argue that it should have took place earlier. But to your point, Buck, Griffin, he had some rumblings earlier, about 4 weeks ago, where he leaked some information out to the media about how he wasn't comfortable playing a certain way, which lets you know that indication he wasn't on board with Mike Nolan's defense. Then obviously Poe has underperformed overwhelmingly, and then obviously we have Worley, who's been getting torched as well. So I wasn't surprised by any of these moves. I'm glad these guys are now gone. It doesn't make sense to continue paying top dollar for not top dollar production. It's time for some of these young guys to step up and make some plays.
Tell you what, fellas, the bottom line is this: when you go out and get veterans from outside, these guys are supposed to come in and be on board with what the coaching staff is trying to do. But I tell you what, none of these guys were in on this thing, totally sold in on it. Bye-bye. Let's get rid of the rest of them, baby. Let's go. Rock and roll. Ben Dinucci, let's go.
We'll get to Ben Dinucci in a moment, but as we wrap up this segment, I just want to ask you specifically, Bucky, who do you think benefits the most by the moves? What player might you see step up and play more?
Randy Gregory and Bradley and I. These are 2 young guys that fit what Mike Nolan wants to do on the edges. They're athletic guys who are comfortable standing up. They can drop, but they also play with a high motor. And I think before we can correct the X and O's, we got to play harder. So I think 2 players that play hard, they certainly will add some spice to that defense. We'll see if it makes it better, though.
All right, we're just getting started here on Special Edition. When we come back, this will be Nate's favorite segment because we're talking Ben Dinucci when we come back.
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Salvation Army, doing the most good. And by AT&T. This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the new Sevens scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery. With top prizes up to $977,000. There's a Sevens scratch ticket for everyone. So play today.
Got a rookie quarterback in there, but Ben's been nothing but a pro. I think what Ben brings to a table is, a young guy with a lot of arm talent, and then I think what else he can do that people don't realize, he can run a little bit, so he'll be able to get outside the pocket and make some plays.
Zeke Elliott on the new starting quarterback for your Dallas Cowboys, Ben Dinucci, rookie 7th round pick out of James Madison. That's brought to you by Auto Nation as we welcome you back here to Special Edition brought to you by AT&T. Let's go around the horn about Ben Dinucci, who got thrown in after Andy Dalton goes into concussion protocol after the big hit last week in Washington. Nate, I'm thinking that when the Cowboys drafted Ben Dinucci in the 7th round back in April, they never expected him to actually play in a game, much less start in a game this season. But here we are. You sound excited about the Ben Dinucci era.
And the reason I'm excited about that, Bill, and the rest of you guys is it means that the young guys are starting to play. You know, the Bradleys, the Nays, the Dinucci's, and I already CD Lamb. But what this kid gonna bring is not no experience. They're gonna bring enthusiasm. They're gonna have to bring back the run pass option. Let this guy move around. Let him read a quarter of the field. Look around. Ain't nothing there. Take off and run. Let him use his escapability because he's gonna need it against Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox. But hey, you know what? I am excited because we're going in a different direction, and it's called hustle.
Yeah, Nate, you talk about it, the young guys having to play. Ben Dinucci, coming from JMU, he certainly has athleticism. He has arm talent. He is a guy that can give them the opportunity to do some of those new school RPOs and read option plays where he can utilize his legs. But I think what this forces Kellen Moore to do, he's going to have to scale it back and simplify to give his young guy a chance. Maybe that helps everybody, the offensive line included, play better.
Yeah, and I would kind of go the opposite on this one, Buckman. I think that Kellen Moore actually have opportunity to open up the playbook a little bit more, obviously in a dumbed-down fashion. But I think Ben Dinucci obviously presents a great opportunity for these guys to have renewed energy. He has some speed. He can get out and run. He can get outside the pocket and make some throws. He's going to be under pressure, so I think that you want to have a moving target with him. But I think they're going to be able to do some exciting things and try to get this team, a little jump start in the second half of the season.
And Dinucci, of course, played in Frisco back in January. He led James Madison to the national championship game at the FCS level. They lost to North Dakota State. We got a matchup of two FCS quarterbacks. Carson Wentz, of course, the North Dakota State grad starting for the Philadelphia Eagles. And as we wrap up this segment, Nate, let me ask you just how much he will benefit from the fact that Zach Martin will be back at right guard for the Cowboys this week.
That'll be a great thing. That'll give him some stability, to just to play through difficult times, and that'll give us a chance to kind of slow down Fletcher Cox when he line up on him, man. And it just gives you a sense of security when you have that all-pro player in there.
All right, when we continue here on Cowboys Special Edition, we turn our attention to Carson Wentz and these Philadelphia Eagles, who all of a sudden are in first place in the NFC East.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the new Sevens scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery. With top prizes up to $977,000. There's a Sevens scratch ticket for everyone. So play today. This segment is brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas.
Obviously, we've got a familiar opponent here in Philadelphia, and obviously they've had the same crew up front for 7-8 years now. So we're familiar with those guys, and again, confident in all the guys we have, and just prepared if something needs to happen, then be ready for it.
Welcome back to Cowboys Special Edition. Zach Martin talking about this Philly front four. He's gone up against a lot of these guys for a long time. It's brought to you by Nationwide. That's where we start off this segment. We always talk about Fletcher Cox. Brandon Graham on the outside is off to a great start this season as he's got 6 sacks. And Jim Schwartz is going to bring it against Ben Dinucci and the Cowboys, right? Isaiah Stanback?
Absolutely. Jim Schwartz is probably one of the the toughest defensive coordinators in the league. He just doesn't care. He's a big bully that's going to keep poking you in your forehead, and you can most likely expect him to bring the pressure nonstop against a prime rookie quarterback in Ben Dinucci. He has his tools at his hands, right? He has big Fletcher Cox in the middle, and then you already mentioned Brandon Graham, who's tied for third in the league in sacks. These guys are going to bring pressure not only up the middle with big man, but they're also going to try to secure these edges. So Dinucci, O-line, you guys get your mind right.
I think Kellen Moore has to look at this film and understand that he has to come out in the game in mass protection, starting out with quick and easy throws, getting this guy on the move, getting this quarterback settled in. And then after that right there, you can kind of loosen up and let guys get out into the routes. But other than that right there, two, 3 receivers into the route is how we need to go with that front four that they have in Philly.
Dan, I like that because you talk about protection first and foremost, and they have to protect Dinucci. The Cowboys really have to focus on, we talked about it, lack of turnovers. They cannot give the ball away. And with your rookie quarterback making his first start, very conservative game plan. Try to keep the game from running away from you by just taking care of it. That means a lot of Zeke, some quick passes. Just make sure that every drive ends in some kind of a kick.
All right, let's flip it over to the Philadelphia offense. When you look, they've had their own issues on the offensive line, of course, this season. They are getting some guys back on offense. However, Carson Wentz, 28 sacks this season through 7 games, 10 touchdowns, 10 picks. A couple of guys have emerged at wide receiver for him, including Travis Fulgham, who was a waiver claim out of Old Dominion, and Greg Ward Jr., the former quarterback at Houston. Isaiah, what are you seeing out of this Philly offense?
This Philly offense obviously has had some struggles, man. But, to your point, they've had a ton of injuries at the receiver position, and Fulgham has came out, and he's been balling. He's getting at least 5 receptions a game, averaging about 70 yards, aside from the 10 reception, 150-yard game he had. I'm more concerned with their curveball, and that's Jalen Hurts coming off the bench at the backup quarterback position. I think he's presented some problems. This offensive line is doing some very creative things in terms of pulling tackles and guards, and, our defensive front is going to have to show up against this offensive line because they're going to be bringing it left and right.
You know what I like about this team, and it's very dangerous, is that Carson Wentz is back on the move. And when he's back on the move, he's dangerous. And I like that Carson Wentz. So we got to contain Carson Wentz because he is the drive to this machine.
He is the drive to the machine, Nate, as you alluded to, but he has also struggled. He is a guy that runs hot and cold in game. He'll start out hot in the first quarter, disappear for 2 quarters, then finish with a flurry in the fourth quarter. Dallas has to make sure that they're able to put him under constant pressure because when he's been pressured, he has turned the ball over. This is a game where the pressure has to show up. D-Law, Alden Smith, those guys have to show up and be consistent and persistent forces up front.
And, of course, Isaiah, let me ask you as we wrap up this segment, the run game has killed the Cowboys so far this season. We'll see about Miles Sanders' availability. But Boston Scott, a little guy, is going to be hard. It's hard to even find that guy behind those big offensive lines.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about this one. A small guy behind the offensive line against a struggling Cowboys defensive line. We've struggled with misdirection. And that goes all the way back to the first week with the Los Angeles Rams. These guys are presenting a lot of problems for us, being able to get out on the edge, sliding guys underneath the offensive line. And it's going to be a struggle trying to find this little guy behind these guys because they're going to mix it up. They're going to do misdirection. They're going to expose our weakness, which is us over pursuing and playing aggressive.
All right, when we continue here on Cowboys Special Edition, some key matchups to look for on Sunday night in Philadelphia.
This segment was brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. This segment is brought to you by AT&T.
Cowboys Special Edition brought to you by AT&T continues now as we get you set for Sunday Night Football, the Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. Some key matchups to look for. And, Bucky, what do you have this week? Alden Smith against that offensive line for the Eagles that have suffered their own injuries this season.
Yeah, Alden Smith has to wear the big sombrero, meaning he has to have a big game because this team has given up 28 sacks. They're starting Jordan Mailata, who is a guy who was a rugby player who's transitioning to playing offensive line. This should be one where Alden Smith is licking his chops, should be able to hit him with a couple moves to give him a chance to get to the quarterback. And when he gets to the quarterback, he needs to bring the tomahawk chop. He needs to knock the ball out. The Cowboys desperately need to create some turnovers.
All right, let's flip it over to the Cowboys tackles. And of course, there's been issues there with the injuries to Tyron Smith as well as Lyle Collins. Nate, how much is Brandon Graham licking his chops this week?
I tell you what, he probably already done threw away the bones in the garbage can because he got to be ready to come off the edge like a ball of fire, man. Like Bush Davis used to say, like a bowling ball full of butcher knives. He's going to be chopping and cutting, brother. And Derek Barnett ain't no joke, and Fletcher Cox coming up the middle. Pass protect, baby, maximum.
And Isaiah, your matchup, let's go with Trayvon versus Travis. The Cowboys rookie second-round draft pick Trayvon Diggs against Travis Fulgham, who the Eagles picked up as a waiver claim, and he is going off in key moments in games at that in his short time in Philadelphia.
Absolutely. There's going to be a battle of two young guys going head-to-head. Obviously, we have Diggs is trying to prove himself, trying to establish himself, and kind of rekindle a flame that he tried to start going back all the way against when he was facing Julio Jones, and he's been kind of torched ever since then. And then obviously you have Fulgham, who's coming in there, and he's a proven guy, right? He started off on practice squads and waiver claims and things of that nature. There's going to be a nice little battle between the two of these guys. I'm not sure how much they're going to have opportunity to play man-to-man though, because I don't foresee the Cowboys going into a man-to-man defense versus this Eagles offense.
And let me follow up with Bucky on that. What are you seeing out of Trayvon Diggs? Of course, he got burned last week, but all in all, what are you seeing out of Trayvon so far this year?
I mean, he's doing like most young guys do. He's been struggling. It's been a mixed bag. We've seen some good downs from him, but we've seen some bad ones. And sometimes it appears that he doesn't quite understand exactly what he's supposed to do. So hopefully Mike Nolan, that staff, can get him situated, because he's certainly talented enough to be a premier player in this league. We just got to make sure he knows exactly what to do and how to play his technique.
All right, when we wrap up Cowboys Special Edition in just a moment, it's the keys to a Cowboys victory in Philadelphia on Sunday night.
This segment was brought to you by AT&T. Special Edition, presented by AT&T, was brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
Final couple minutes here of Cowboys Special Edition. It's the Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. It's Sunday Night Football, and how do the Cowboys come away with a victory as injury depleted as they are? Ben Dinucci starting at quarterback for Dallas against Carson Wentz for Philly. Let's go around the horn with keys to a Cowboys victory. Let's start with you, Bucky. What are you thinking?
It has to be all about Zeke. This offense has to run through Zeke. Zeke has to respond with a big-time game. This is where he has to earn his money. This has to be a 20 to 25-plus carry game. He has to top the century mark for the Cowboys to have a chance of winning this one. It has to be Zeke playing big time in the backfield.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and go with it in the trenches. I think we have to win the battle up front. I've been saying that for a while now, but it remains true. We give Ben Dinucci time, keep these defenders off of him, to give him some confidence to get the ball off, and then can we get home on Carson Wentz? Can we create some issues there, because we know he will toss the ball up and give us opportunity for turnovers.
And I just want to interact with both you guys. Say it's about consistency on both the offensive and defensive line, and Zeke has to run strong this week and be just a crazy man out there. So consistency with offense and defensive line is what we need this week.
Nate, Zeke needs to have a performance like Emmitt Smith had in Philadelphia on Halloween night back in the 90s. You remember that game, don't you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I remember that game. And hey, you know what? And Zeke has that ability. A lot of people is doubting it, but that boy still got some fire in him. Let's go, Zeke.
It was a Cowboy rushing record of 230-some-odd yards for Emmitt Smith. And Nate is picking a one-point Cowboys victory, right, Nate?
80% of that was behind me, or that 230 yards.
All right. We'll see you next week on Special Edition.